100 pounds of fat equals 350,000 calories, which meant I had to achieve a daily caloric deficit of 4,200 calories for the entire span of my 12-week summer break. How that's possible? Well, I would have to water fast every day. That is, to not eat any food and to only drink water. In addition, I would have to do a lot of exercise.
Share My Story, a relatively large YouTube channel, who claim that they would bring real stories to life. But do they really? Or is it just made up bullshit? Today we're gonna look into, quote, I lost 100 pounds during summer break.
Hey, I'm Francesca. Let me tell you how I lost 100 pounds and went from obese to slim during my 12-week summer break. Losing so much weight quickly is very dangerous, though. So here is a warning. If you do any extreme weight loss diet, only do it under medical supervision.
At least they put a disclaimer at the beginning, but we're gonna touch upon that medical supervision later on.
Okay, let's get into it. I've always been the odd one out in my family. All my siblings are either extremely beautiful, intelligent, or athletic. I had nothing that made me special, except being fat. My mom always said, "There is my little bacon. Do you want to eat some pancakes? Are you hungry again?"
These animation channels are fucking wild. We are not even a whole minute in, and we already have a mother who calls her fat child Bacon and asks if she was hungry again. It sort of feels like she was holding this conversation with her pet pig instead of her daughter.
Being fat was my way of standing out. I loved it when my mom called me Moby Dick, and during dinner, I always ate 4 or 5 times as much as my siblings, just to impress her. "Good job, Beefy Bacon," she told me.
Now what the actual fuck? Her mother not only calls her Beefy Bacon, but also Moby Dick. Why would you need school bullies with a mother like that? Now hold up, does her mother actually want to harpoon her own daughter? Because that's what happens in the book.
She thought it was super cute to have a big daughter like me. My mom was an enabler, so it's no wonder that by the time I hit 6th grade, I was severely obese. One of the pretty girls in school once called me fat straight to my face, but I just pulled her down by her hair and sat on her chest. She begged me to get off again and said she couldn't breathe. After a while, I complied to her request, but first I sat down on her face and farted right into her nose.
On the one hand, that's the ultimate real-life teabag. On the other hand, that's assault. But I ask myself this. What does this have to do with her losing 100 pounds?
That's the stuff that made other kids respect me. I was bigger than them and willing to beat them up. But once I got older and hit puberty, I became interested in boys. And I knew to get one of them to date me, I had to get in shape.
This might be a wild guess, but does she really get no boyfriend because of her weight? Really? Or is it maybe because of her behavior? Because it should be considerably easier to find a boyfriend who likes fat girls than a scat lover.
My best friend Miranda had the same body mass index as me, so I asked her if she wanted to lose weight with me together. She responded, "No, thank you. I don't want to wake up looking like an anorexic girl one day."
Don't worry, you won't.
Wow, that was the lamest excuse I've ever heard. But summer break was about to start and I had done my calculations. I weighed 220 pounds and had to lose 100 pounds to reach my dream weight. 100 pounds of fat equals 350,000 calories, which meant I had to achieve a daily caloric deficit of 4,200 calories for the entire span of my 12-week summer break.
Now up to this point she got her math right and I can't complain. But watch what happens next.
How that's possible? Well, I would have to water fast every day. That is, to not eat any food and to only drink water. In addition, I would have to do a lot of exercise. My basal metabolic rate was 1,700 calories, which meant I had to burn another 2,500 calories through exercise to reach my daily calorie deficit of 4,200 calories.
Now this is where it went from tardy to retardy. In her little calculation she didn't calculate any calories in, assuming she would literally eat nothing for 12 weeks.
The only way to accomplish this was to walk 8 hours a day, every single day. But before I continue with this story, another warning. This fast was done under the strict guidance of a doctor.
No, I call bullshit on that one. Any person who studied medicine and is working as a licensed doctor should be under the Hippocratic Oath, meaning that you should not try to kill your patient. But I guess he didn't get the message.
Do not attempt to fast on your own. However, we should also remember that most people have enough fat reserves to survive several weeks or months without eating any food. In fact, evolution has designed the human body to survive famines and other food shortages. And because I had lots of fat stored in my body, I thought that 12 weeks of fasting shouldn't be a problem for me.
Now, at least she got two or three right. Yes, the body can transform glucose into fat and fat into glucose. But do you know what else your body needs, especially if you do sports? Protein. As simple as that. And it is physically impossible for the body to transform fat, or glucose for that matter, into protein. You need to take that in. Now, here's an interesting video that breaks the not eating diet apart in a very good manner, but it's kind of too much for this video, so if you're really interested in this, I would recommend you watch this. But in short, yes, there was a guy who didn't eat anything for over a year, but he had a whole team of medical professionals supervising him around the clock. And he did eat something, actually. It was yeast. I'm sure you wonder why yeast, of all things. For one, it has protein. And the other point is to feed the bacteria. Because think about it, how does your digestion work? You have a plethora of bacteria living in your gut. And you need those in order to digest your food. And as any other living organism, if it doesn't get to eat something once in a while, it dies. So our super protagonist here wouldn't have any gut bacteria left after 12 weeks and would essentially not be able to digest any food. Also, since she does a lot of sport, as you mentioned earlier, her muscles will require a lot of protein in order to build up and maintain their strength. But since she doesn't eat anything, her muscles can't repair when she exercises them, meaning they should get weaker instead of stronger over the 12 weeks. Not to mention possible long-term negative effects, such as infection or permanent muscle damage. But I'm sure her medical professional has calculated that in. Also, another very important thing is, what do you think your body needs vitamins for? What do you think your body will do if it doesn't get any vitamins? Your body will fucking collapse, that's it. Just look at what happens if you don't take enough vitamin C. A common occurrence for sailors in the 1700s. Your gum will start to retract and bleed, you get rashes all over your body, and ultimately you will die. Sounds fun, right?
Here is how it went. The first 2 days were the most challenging because I was extremely hungry. This is the period where your body burns off all the glycogen stored inside your liver. Only when the glycogen is depleted does your body switch over to using fat cells as its energy source. Then, of course, I also had to walk 8 hours a day to reach my calorie deficit goal of 4,200 calories. But my legs weren't used to this much exercise. By the third day, they were so sore that I had to start alternating between walking and cycling every day. By the way, here's my top advice to make fasting easy. Distract yourself. I recommend hiking through forests where you can admire the beauty of nature and forget about your hunger.
Yeah, you don't need that. When you're bleeding profusely out of your mouth, I'm sure you don't want to eat anything at all. You know, comes natural with the diet. Positive side effect, if you will. Now, I will spare you of any more images, but just Google scurvy mouth bleed and you will not want to eat anything, at least for a few hours.
Of course, it's much harder to fast at home when your mom cooks tasty food. I made you spaghetti bolognese. Mom, I told you I am fasting. But that's dangerous. You have to stop. My mom was very stubborn.
I know I gave her mother a lot of shit for basically treating her daughter like a pig, but I gotta give her some credit here. She's definitely acting rationally and trying to, not endanger the health of her own daughter, in contrast to her own doctor, who tries to fucking kill her, or at least enable her killing herself with her diet.
She was convinced that fasting was bad for me, even though I had shown her several scientific papers that showed that fasting actually increases the lifespan of most animals.
Again, this is half science bullshit. Yes, there's a scientific correlation between the metabolism of an animal and the lifespan. That's why mice, who have a very fast heart rate, do not live very long, and elephants, on the other hand, live very long. This goes as far as one person trying to extend their own lifespan by only living off of 800 kilocalories per day, but that does not mean that you will live longer if you eat nothing. The opposite is true, you will fucking die. This is what happens when your only source of information is a fucking Facebook group.
But the greatest health benefit that fasting provides is probably autophagy. Autophagy is a process in which your body starts to eat itself at the cellular level. And because your body is smart, it mostly eats bad things like cancer cells.
Again, that's half science bullshit. Yes, it may eat cancer cells indeed, but what it will eat before that is your muscle mass. Because muscle not only has energy stored in it, but also burns energy in order to maintain it. So your body will first start to decrease your muscle mass. And do you know what the biggest and most important muscle in your whole body is? Your heart. This is why these zero eating diets are known for causing heart attacks and premature death. Her daughter is killing herself while she's thinking that she's the smartest person in the world.
This process only gets activated if you don't eat any food for several days. Also, if you think you lack the discipline to fast for an extended period of time, then let me tell you another secret. By the third day of your water fast, most of your hunger cravings will be gone anyway. That's just how our bodies work. Anyway, by day 14 of my fast, I had lost 28 pounds. Miranda called me that same day. Want to go to the movies? Eat some popcorn? You know I can't, 'cause I'm fasting. But why don't you come by and marvel at my new body? Ugh, stop bragging. Fasting is unhealthy. And just think about all the loose skin that will be hanging off your body. Yikes.
Again, all friends and family she have are rational individuals. And her friend is absolutely right. Not only is it dangerous, but if you lose a lot of weight in a small time frame, you will have a lot of fucking excess skin hanging about. Now, skin gets less elastic with age, and if our protagonist did a normal diet, it could very well be that she doesn't have any problems with flapping skin. But since she's doing the most extreme diet you could think of, she will most certainly 100% have excess skin hanging about, and will either need surgery to remove it or learn to live with it.
Stop it, Miranda. You were just jealous that I have the discipline to lose weight and you don't. I'll just say one thing. Yo-yo effect. You might lose some weight this year, but you will gain it all back next year. Miranda made a good point, but she was wrong. There is a great video on YouTube by the weight loss expert Dr. Jason Fung, where he explains why the yo-yo effect isn't a problem for people who fast. I'll put the link to his video down into the description for anyone interested.
Now, I might be going into too much detail, but I looked Dr. Fung up. And yes, he is for fasting, but intermediate fasting, which would mean that you eat only in certain intervals, like once a day, once every 2 days, something like that. Not once every 12 fucking weeks. Now, what Dr. Fung also advocates for is a high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet. So what do we have here in effect? She watched the first 5 seconds and the last 10 seconds of Dr. Fung's video, heard the word fasting, just assumed he was talking about her suicide diet, and picked the points she liked and ignored the ones she doesn't.
But the short explanation is that fasting actually increases your metabolism, while most other weight loss diets slow your metabolism down.
Again, that's only true for intermittent fasting. When our protagonist said in the beginning of the video, rightfully so, that her body will go into starvation mode, which is the opposite of a high metabolism.
Anyway, by day 20 of my fast, I had already lost 38 pounds.
Most of it being water and muscle, whereby muscle in your body actually stores a lot of water.
But I didn't feel good anymore. I was tired and dizzy all the time. Then while trekking up a mountain, I suddenly fainted and blacked out. This was a good reminder that water fasting can be dangerous. I immediately Googled why I was dizzy and found that I was probably deficient in electrolytes like salt, potassium, and magnesium. And no wonder, I was sweating all day from exercising. So naturally, my body didn't have enough salt left to function. Fortunately, most supplements are cheap, and after taking them, I immediately felt good again.
So she just randomly went on the internet, bought some supplements, took them, and called it a day. When she would need a whole team of professionals to monitor her blood and give her a plethora of different supplements. She just went with the first one she saw on Amazon and bought them.
Here is an extensive list of how much weight I had lost by what day of my 12-week fast. You can see that my weight loss slowed down over time, but that's normal. After 2 weeks of fasting, I also started incorporating small low-carb meals like salads and steaks into my fast. By day 84, I had lost over 100 pounds, and for the first time since being an infant, I had a healthy weight. In fact, I looked pretty hot. And the best part was that I had no loose skin.
Bullshit.
Back at school, I was approached by dozens of guys congratulating me on how good I looked now. Only some girls kept making nasty comments like, she must have gotten liposuction. Nobody can lose that much weight in such a short time. It's impossible.
I really gotta give it to her friend for being such a good friend. Like, she's just assuming that her friend got surgery, which is actually the nice thing to do, because the other option would be that your friend is 100% retarded.
Do you notice anything? The ones that badmouthed me were all fat. Miranda was the most malicious. She came over and said, let me take a look at your excess skin, can I? Then, without my consent, she pulled up my shirt. I replied, sorry to disappoint you. My skin is super tight. But can I ask you a question? Are you so insecure that you have to put others down to feel good about yourself? What? I'm not insecure at all. That was the end of our friendship. But the following week, our class took a field trip to the beach where everyone had their shirts off except Miranda. You didn't bring a bikini? I thought you didn't feel insecure about your body. That's when Miranda grabbed me by the hair and pulled me close to her. Don't be so arrogant. You'll be fat again soon enough. It's called the yo-yo effect. And unfortunately, Miranda was right. After I finished my 12-week fast, I went straight back to eating burgers and fries. Within a month, I'd gained back a few pounds. I realized the only way to stay slim in the long run was to find a healthy diet that I could stick to for years. So I tested over a dozen different diets, everything from vegan to carnivore. But the diet I finally settled on was the ketogenic diet.
Maybe she should have just used the keto diet from the beginning. Just maybe.
It's my favorite because after a few weeks of eating keto, I no longer have any sugar or carb cravings, which means I no longer need willpower to resist chocolate or pizza. On top of that, I started doing intermittent fasting, and I only eat between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning. That's exactly one big meal I can eat each day. The ex-CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, does the same thing. It's called OMAD, one meal a day. If you find this is extreme, don't worry. Your body will get used to it after a while. I like OMAD because it helps me avoid eating small snacks throughout the day. For example, my mom eats 2 or 3 Snickers every night, which is easily an extra 500 calories. In the end, everyone needs to find a diet that works well for their individual body and mind. Instead of copying me, you should try different diets yourself and see what works best for you. I hope my story has inspired you to take control of your own weight. Just promise me you won't be like Miranda and stay fat.
Now, this is where we end the video, guys. To summarize it, we got an unbelievable dumb protagonist who doesn't want to learn anything about diets, takes facts without context, rhymes her own scientific facts together in her mind, and wonders why she suddenly collapses during hiking when she didn't eat anything for 2 weeks. This, my guys, is the target audience of those animation channels, and I could very well believe that some people would actually follow that diet, which would put them at mortal risk. Thank you for sticking to me this long, and please never try out this diet, and consider subscribing on your way out. Thank you.